that's a really good day for people to go to. Across the 5 days, we normally get about, well, last year we had just over 800 people across the 5 days. Okay, so day one's inspiration day. We get everyone from pre-start all the way up to corporate and everything in between. Then day two is getting started. So you've been inspired, you've got an idea, now what? How do you take those ideas forward and bring it into the real world? Day three is the funding and finance day. So anyone who's looking for money to start or grow a business, that's the day to go to. So grants, loans, crowdfunding, angel investors, venture capital, bids and tenders, it's all covered on that day. Then day four is the scale-up day. So how do you take things to the next level, whatever level that is? How do you improve things? How do you refine them and really take it further from it? And then day five is keep going or pivot. So how do you keep going? Do you keep going? When do you know to stop and change direction? And what's next for the Northeast after that? So it's a 5-day event. Tickets are on sale now. Okay, it would be really good for my heart if people bought tickets sooner rather than later. So if you are thinking of coming, have a look at the NewcastleStartupWeek.com website. Tickets are just £50 a day or £150 for 5 days. We also have fringe events every morning and after parties every night as well. But you get the most out of it if you go to everything. So like me, by the end of it, you're like a zombie. But it is an amazing, immersive experience, right? But Founders Friday is just how to keep that momentum going all year round, keep the community spirit alive, and then anyone who missed the start of week events, it's a way for them to find out about what's going on. So the first hour, we always do what's called an insights briefing. So it's usually me and up to 3 other people talking about latest opportunities in the Northeast to start or grow a business. Then we do a show and tell. So again, we normally go up to four new businesses or existing businesses with new products and services to talk about what they're working on and get some early feedback from people. And then we have lunch. Today we've got lunch provided by Mexicatessen, who does really delicious, authentic Mexican food. So definitely took into that. And the lunch is kindly paid for by Sintons. Sintons in the house over there. They've been our sponsor for over a year now, like maybe a year and a bit. And then after the lunch, we always have someone from Sintons giving a talk about some different legal issues. So today we've got Alison, who's going to talk about, she's the head of debt recovery. So obviously chasing debt and getting paid on time and all that sort of stuff is a big problem for a lot of small businesses. And then really delighted that we've got Faye over there. She's come down from Edinburgh. She's a social media and outreach manager for Free Agent, who is also our headline sponsor for Startup Week and Founders Friday. So if you don't know Free Agent definitely do some of the best social media out there for business. So Faye's going to talk about that and how to have success through your social media. So stick around for that. Okay, that's the only other thing I wanted to say. Is anyone looking for funding or investment for their business? No. Okay. Right. Oh, one guy. Right. Okay. Well, does anyone know anyone who's looking for investment? Rock audience, okay. Well, I'll say it for the camera over there, right? So basically, we're partners, right? So this is a good. So Startup Week is we do get people from all over the UK and overseas now. So last year we had people from Scotland, Manchester, Cumbria, Midlands, Wales, South Coast, London, Cambridge. We had Germany, France, Switzerland, Romania, Azerbaijan, Denmark, China, India, Pakistan, North America, South America, right? So word spreading, and that's amazing. We want to make it more of an international event, but rooted here in the Northeast. We want to bring the world to the Northeast. So everyone why it's such a great place to start a business. But something we've just agreed a partnership with this event called Wolves Summit, which is in Warsaw in Poland. So this is Europe's leading event for matching entrepreneurs with investors. Okay, so they've found out about us and they've said, do we want to partner with them? So anybody who's looking for investment, if you go on the NewcastleStartupWeek.com website and go on the blog, there's some details about this, but there's free tickets for startups to attend. So you just register on there, and if you're not a startup, but you're an investor or a business advisor or anything like that, you can get discounted tickets through here. You would still have to buy your own flights and hotels and stuff, but I'm going to go there. It's next month. I'm going to go out to Wolves Summit and I'm taking some local businesses with me to that. And then in return, they're going to come back over and speak at Startup Week on day 3, the Funding and Finance Day. So the two of the head guys from Wolf Summit are coming over and they're going to bring some investors and some entrepreneurs with them over from Poland and Eastern Europe. So that's just a really exciting thing, I think, that we're on the radar of things like that. Okay, so that's enough from me for now. So I'd like to invite up to the stage Dale. So Dale is going to talk about the NatWest Entrepreneur Accelerator Program. So big round of applause for Dale.
Excellent. Good morning, everyone. I'm delighted to be here in Newcastle. So I'm one of the regional directors for the bank's entrepreneurship team. I look after 5 of our Accelerator locations: Newcastle, Manchester, Leeds, London, Brighton. So I've got quite a big geographical patch, and had a really interesting week from being at the House of Lords on Tuesday with the All Political Party Entrepreneurship Steering Group, which was really interesting and quite insightful around some of the government initiatives and some of the changes that may be coming down the pipeline for entrepreneurs and particularly investors. So I'm delighted to be here on a Friday, so thanks for having me along. So my Twitter handle's up there. Also mention Melissa Beckett, who is my Entrepreneur Development Manager here in Newcastle. So Melissa unfortunately can't be here today, but she is kind of my ecosystem manager that will be helping and supporting Newcastle ecosystem in and around the northeast, around various initiatives that the bank do. Predominantly I'm here to talk around the Accelerator Program that we run in Newcastle. How many people interested have heard of the NatWest Accelerator Program? That's quite a few of you. So I'm not going to keep you too long then, so a few of you will know this, but what I would say is that you know, if you've got anyone that hasn't heard of us, then please, you know, do spread the word around the things that NatWest are doing. We are genuinely really proud of the work that we are doing in the entrepreneurship space. We started as a team of 3 in the bank, running our entrepreneurship strategy 4.5 years ago. We're now a team of around 80 throughout the UK, all supporting entrepreneurs from right the idea stage right through to scaling businesses, that high growth scale market. And we know that the learnings that we do, you know, being an entrepreneur is extremely difficult, but we also know that entrepreneurs are the lifeblood of the UK economy, and so anything that my team, we are really passionate around making that journey, helping that journey, supporting that journey. I think it's worth mentioning that last Friday, 2 Fridays ago on the 14th of February, was a real big momentum for us as an organisation. It was the first time that we've been led by a female, but also any high street bank has been led by a female. So interesting, we are now the only FTSE company that have got CEO and a financial CEO as both female. I'm really proud of that. And Alison is our sponsor around the work that we're doing with entrepreneurship. So she wants more investment, more help and support for entrepreneurs, not just females. You know, it is an inclusive community, and that's really important for us. Our mission is quite clear. You know, we are determined to be the leading bank for entrepreneurs, helping them start, scale and succeed, and that's predominantly what me and my team do. So I'm not going to run through those stats, but we are really proud around the fact that we are doing this programme. We've been in NatWest since 2018. Prior to that, we did have a partnership with Entrepreneur Spark, who are basically our programme run for supporting entrepreneurs. So we kind of partnered with them nationally, and they ran the programme. And after that concluded, we kind of knew that you know, they'd done a real lot of great working with them. They'd run a real, you know, intuitive program, but actually the learnings that we've done, and as an organisation where we have and house, you know, 3 million business customers, up to 5 million commercial corporate customers, we can actually bring those in and support those entrepreneurs. So our impact is around, you know, the entrepreneurs that we support. We look at our job creation, the investment, the turnover. We're really proud of our service up at NPS at 78, which, as you can imagine, banks with a score like that is something, a force to be reckoned with, as we've been through so much change since 2008, and right, we've been through that term, and it definitely is customer before profit is ultimately where we are as an organisation. So, and that investment in entrepreneurs will continue. So we're delighted to be involved and one of the sponsors of Newcastle Startup Week, and I know that Melissa and Paul are working really closely. I've only recently, well I say recently, I took over Newcastle June into my remit, but I've heard phenomenal things around that week, so do get involved, do buy those tickets. And I know Melissa is really excited around the things that we're going to be doing. We're also going to have my MD speaking along with that around some of the work that we're doing as well. So again, we run at the moment, we run 5 programs of support. This is a typical journey for our smaller startup business, so I'm not going to spend too much time on this. This is being rebranded today actually and is being launched in Birmingham. It's now not Pre-Accelerator, it's now Business Builder. This is around a program where it's an online digital program where entrepreneurs can dip in and dip out of material that we know that will help them, support them. So, but this is really, really early stage. And it's doing really, really good things in supporting people. Do I have an idea that I can take to reality ultimately? We then have our main Accelerator Program, which we run in Newcastle, and Josh, who you're going to be hearing for after me, is one of my acceleration managers. So we have been running this now for some time, both at Entrepreneurial Spark and now under NatWed. So we are initially a 6-month program where it's an application to us. You'll then be selected for interview if we deem that actually we want to meet you face to face. And then we hire on kind of that ambition, that growth, that scale, that trajectory. We don't hire on what your business is. So we're sector agnostic, which is really powerful. So bringing entrepreneurs from loads of different sectors into the space. We typically look after 80 entrepreneurs in all our hubs throughout the UK. We've got 12 of them. In London, we're slightly larger. We've got about 130 in my London hub. But ultimately, a collective community of entrepreneurs working and supporting each other is really, really powerful, and that's the positive feedback that we get all the time. But the program is built on 3 pillars, which I'm going to briefly talk around. But we kick off with a 2-day ignition, which will happen in April, and then you will be appointed one of my acceleration managers. Here in Newcastle, you've got Josh and Haley, who absolutely, this is not a 9-to-5 career for them. This is, working with entrepreneurs all the time, helping them, supporting them, challenging, being the best friend, but also coming in when things potentially may not be going right, and actually holding that mirror up and having that space and time to work on the business rather than in the business, which I know entrepreneurs, is a real challenge for, definitely. We run a series of events, so Melissa will be putting on various events, guest speakers to come in along, subjects that we know entrepreneurs will help and support them. So it is an accelerator. We are really proud of the work that we do, and we want to do more, we want to invest more, we want to continually improve, so the feedback that we get around the programme is really important. So we're based on 3 pillars of support throughout the programme. So the first one is the community. So we have an office space with hot desking, and those that are with us more, then they can work pretty much round the clock. I'm not sure on the opening times in Newcastle.
It's
just comfort.
pretty much 8 to 8.
8 to 8, Monday to Friday, that's the building that we're in. But actually the community, helping, supporting each other is really, really powerful. And Melissa's predominant role is around bringing people into that community, whether that's mentors, whether that's investors, whether that's subject matter experts, is really important. Mentioned the coaching framework that we've got, so you'll be meeting your coach monthly, having a session, a really in-depth session to work on you and work on your business. And a break, I'm sure Josh can give you more insight around how that coaching model actually works. And then the final one is the network. So plugging entrepreneurs into the bank's network is really important. You think how big is our organisation? We do bank, some large corporates right up to the, massive big FTSE companies. We have local corporates that want to get involved, and we also have Coots clients that have been on this journey that actually have some cash in the bank as well. So making those introductions to our internal network and opening up our black book is really, really powerful. And again, Melissa's responsibility to get to know you and your business and how we can plug you into not just the Newcastle ecosystem, but how we can plug you into the bank's book. We also have corporate partnerships that will come in, because we know, as a bank, we don't have all the answers. Ultimately, you are experts in your business, but what we can do is bring in that expertise. So we have partners like Free Agent, who you're going to be hearing from today, so delighted. We work really closely with Free Agent, and have done for some time now, so they're a great support to us around helping with, the phenomenal things that they're doing with their software package. We also have other corporate partnerships. Pinsons, Masons will do legal support. Dell EMC will do technical development, software support, and I'm trying to think, my mind's gone blank. Equifax will do help with data. We also have Hiscox who will help with risk and insurance, and we'll also have Deloitte who will do, again, help with accountancy. So it's not just the help on their specific area of expertise. What they also have is their black book as well, so tapping into their contacts can be invaluable as well. So we will continue that journey. We're looking at more partnerships as people become more interested in the work that we were doing. I think the one thing I love about Newcastle is it's always vibrant, it's always got great energy. You know, whenever you go in there, you've got a real kind of, you know, picking up on that kind of real energy to be successful in business. That's really, really important to us. So partners I've mentioned, we are open for applications right now, however it does close at 5 o'clock today, so if you do have any contacts or you do have, I know, we have been open for...
it's free though, isn't it?
It is, yes, yeah. So the final thing is, you know, it is fully funded, you know, for the programme. We can offer up to 18 months of support, but you are regularly assessed throughout the programme. We use a CRM system, which will help and support us, guide you through your time with us. After 6 months, so anyone can have their first 6 months of support with us, and after that 6 months, if you want to continue your journey in that 12 months, you would need to be a bank customer. So you would need to be, obviously, have your main business account with us. So do obviously tap in. I've got some business cards. I'm going to be around all day today, so really looking forward to being here. I've never been to a Founders Friday before, so you know, really looking forward to it. Melissa, you know, do touch base with her. She runs regularly contact events, and you know, Josh is here as well. So you know, get the details, local details. He will know more around obviously the specific events that are going on, because we do open up the event space. We do open up the programme to those not in and out, to be really supportive, and genuinely really looking forward to Newcastle Start Week. So I'm going to be here pretty much 3 days out of that week, so lots going on there. Any quick questions before I hand over to Josh? Just conscious I rattled through that really quickly. Yes?
What's in the application process that ends today?
So it's actually not, it's basically, if you go onto the NatWest Accelerator website, it's just a few questions. So it's not an intensive process, but yeah, if you need any help, support with it, I'm sure Josh can just get the applications details. They have got some interviews, open space available, so speak to him. You know, even if we just get you onto the CRM system today, then we can do the rest. Yeah. Yes.
Do you let people know if they haven't been successful in getting through?
Yes, we let them know. I'll be honest, we do get requests all the time for feedback, which can be a really difficult challenge because we are oversubscribed for feedback, but we will do our best to give you feedback. Some of the, obviously, you know, we are oversubscribed. It is a competitive process, but you know, the team will do the best to kind of just. But yeah, you are informed.
Great, thanks.
It was just similar to that.
Yeah.
Obviously, how much info do you need? Do you need to have a full cash flow business plan ready, or?
Absolutely not. It's a little bit about you, your business, your ambition, and where you want to take it. But Melissa's made quite she was meant to be here today, but she's made quite a, you know, if anyone wants to get into the process, let's get the process done quickly.
Will do that?
Yeah, pretty much.
Is it a yearly cycle, and how many intakes do you
6 months later. Sorry, so 6 months. I should make that a little bit clear. So April and October we intake. So every 6 months.
Every 6 months.
Yeah.
And how many intakes per cycle?
How many intakes? So we'll work with 80 businesses at any one time. So if for instance we're keeping 30 businesses on to the next stage, we need another 50 new. Does that make sense? So we like to bring in new, keep obviously the community flow as well. You got anything to add on that?
I'm sure part of them things will pop up, but yeah, not this time.
And listen, grab me a break. Like I said, I'm around pretty much. I think my train's not till 4 o'clock, so I'm around for the day. So please come and speak to me. And any other ideas, you know, I would like to hear your thoughts. I could talk around loads of other initiatives that we're doing, but you know, if anyone's got any schools, we've got an entrepreneurship. We've got a team now that goes into schools and teach entrepreneurship schools, so we're really looking for schools at the moment for that totally separate program, but really kind of market leading in how we're going to support education, how we're going to support kind of people giving that kind of insight into setting up the business, maybe a career. So we're really looking for schools at the moment, so you know, happy to talk about lots of other things as well.
Can I, one quick
Yes.
question. Can people apply for both the Pre-Accelerator and the Accelerator? Because the Pre-Accelerator is the online 8-week course,
Yes.
but the Accelerator is physical.
Actually, as of today, you can. So,
Right.
one, you can actually be a business builder, because there used to be two. We used to have it all in one portal, but they stripped it outside now, so absolutely can.
Right, okay.
Cool.
Right, great.
Yes, final question.
Just a question.
Yeah.
Pre-accelerator a filter for the accelerator. In other words, do you need to do the pre-accelerator before?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. In fact, a lot of the businesses that apply for Accelerator are probably too far on the journey to get out of what Bun's built. There's no harm in doing some of the content, by the way, but. Cool. All right, I'm going to hand over to Josh, who's going to talk to you around pitching. One of the things that we do a lot of.
Yeah.
Okay, big round of applause for Dale.
Morning! You guys alright?
Yeah.
If you don't mind, I'm going to use this fake American accent for the next half hour, is that alright? Let me know how it goes, if you can understand me really well.
It's actually from Leeds.
Yeah. Hey, sorry for that. I've been working on my Geordie, Hawaii band, why I pet. Hadaway and shout. Is that not a Geordie thing?
Yeah.
Anyway. So, good morning. Before I dive in, there were some really great questions, and Dale had asked if I had anything to add, but just to clarify a couple things for you. It's a 6-month journey, and you can do 3 of those. They don't have to be linear. And as Dale said, the first 6 months there's no ask financially whatsoever. If you join for a second round, upon joining that second round, you would need to be banking with NatWest. That is the price to play at that point. But what's important to understand too is that it's not necessarily a strict interview application process. It is, technically. But if you get asked to come in for an interview, it's a 10-minute interview. We're here to check you out. We're here to check out your mindset, what you've been working on, how things are going. We are not here. It's easier to tell you sometimes what we're not here to do. The Accelerator Program is not here to hold your hand and do things for you. We are ready for people who are ready to dive in and do the work. Primarily, one of the misunderstandings is that that's where you go to start your business. That sometimes happens, but this is really aimed at people who are already trading, who are looking to ramp up, to accelerate and grow their business. And that a lot of the times, as we all know, you get stuck in it, day to day, running around doing the whole thing, and you don't often have the time to zoom out and work on your business, strategize. So that's an important piece of what this is about. So when you apply, the only tricky part is because it's the last day, which again isn't a trick, we didn't plan this. We do take applications every 6 months, but once you apply, you must remember to fill out the due diligence section. So while the questions are fairly simple and things can go by quite quickly, you will need to have on hand a PDF or a JPEG of a passport photo or some kind of ID, and that needs to be uploaded. If you do not get a thank you for applying email, you haven't completed it properly. All right, so check your junk, make sure you fill the due diligence section out, because that is something that will it'll block your process. And as Dale was saying, we currently have interviewed 40 plus people. We can take about 25, 30 at the moment, and we do this every 6 months. It's a great program. I am a product of the program. I'm a founder of my own business. I was on this program for the better part of 3.5 years. I even used this program and learned how to pivot and change my business. And my business moved away from an independent coaching business and workshop business to something else. So coming into this role is very exciting for me, because I get to spend the majority of my time face-to-face business coaching, personal development coaching with people who don't have to pay me, which is awesome. So at any particular time, Haley or myself are coaching with upwards of 37 to 40 businesses at a time. And those 3 buckets of value that Dan was mentioning, if you're on the program, you may find that you're pulling value out of one of those buckets more than another at a time. You may find you need the office space. You may not. But the community is very, very valuable. It's a safe space to be, grow, learn, collaborate. It's not a place, if this is your intention, don't bother applying. Don't bother applying if you're planning to come over and farm for business from our entrepreneurs. We are the coaches, we're also the gatekeepers. We're the ones that are going to make sure that we protect that environment vibe. You inevitably end up doing business with people that you like and that like you. That's how it works, we all know that. But if you're coming in to think, oh, I'll get a bunch of clients, just don't bother, please. Was that too mean, too rough? Good. But anyway, applications are open, apply, get the reply email, and at least apply. If you don't like it, you can always say no. Hell, we might say no. But at the same point, if you don't apply, none of it matters anyway. You miss 100% of the chances you don't take. First cliche of the day, what do you think? Guys, can I clarify, am I the only one that's had 4 coffees so far? Because luckily we got 25 minutes to do a 7-hour presentation, but me talking this quickly, it's gonna happen. So one of the things that underpins the entire journey is pitching. Part of our program process is that The workshops are available solely for people on the program, but our networking events are open to everybody. But at any particular point, pitching is something that underpins any founder's ability to talk about what their business is and what they do, what the business does. And it is shocking how many people can't. And it's not because you suck, it's not because you're terrible, it's because it's sometimes a skill that a lot of people don't work on like anything else. And you may be very passionate about what your business is and what you do, but if it takes you 18 minutes to explain to a person what that business is, I don't know that it matters, all right? The idea of what pitching is about is at every event we run, we often open up at the beginning, pitching. Who's ready with their pitch? Let's see it. It's never gonna be a safer space to practice and do your pitch than at one of our events or in our space. But the key here is it's not about pitching for us. We're not there to judge you and tell you what's going wrong because it's a test and we're the teacher. No, if that ever feels that way, that we're the teacher, you're the student, we gotta refocus because that's not what this program is. But the ability to pitch is what's really important here, because if you cannot succinctly describe what your business is and what it does and who you are, you may miss that chance. Don't think of it like it's a performance necessarily, like I have to do my pitch and I'm pitching to my room. Nah, you're in line in the coffee shop and you suddenly find yourself next to the CEO of some company you've been trying to get into for 3 years. Do you do it well? Can you explain succinctly? Or do you, what's that phrase that Jordy's used? You slumped in the bed. Anybody use that phrase? Slumped in the bed? I'm not gonna use dirty words here, people. You fill it in, you fill in the blank. All right? Anyway, that's about having your bag of tricks ready when you get the chance to do it. Okay? It's like anybody who's ever done any kind of performance, they're audition all the time, they're told no all the time. You never know when you get the chance to kind of show your wares, right? So it's not so much necessarily the structure of pitching. Anybody can learn a structure, anybody can write a script. It's about why are you doing it in the first place? What is the purpose of a pitch, opposed to just sitting there and doing a book report about your business. So this slide is here because I want to remind you that if you were on this journey, at any one of these little colored blocks, you would be doing a pitch. You come to a session with me, your monthly session. Hey, great, how's the week? You feel all right? Is the kids okay? Great, let's hear your pitch. Walking through the hub randomly. Hey guys, I'm sorry, can I borrow that stapler? Pitch. It's not to scare you. It's not to make you feel awful. It's that you need to be able to succinctly and quickly describe your business at any moment, because it's your livelihood. You are entrepreneurs, you are founders. This isn't just like having a job that seems secure. This is your livelihood. It directly connects to the way of life you live with your family, okay? And if you don't have it in your back pocket, ready to launch at any moment, why people should buy what you're selling, what a horrible disservice to do to yourself. Does that make sense? So, let's dive right in. I'm a little dramatic about it, sorry, but this is an important piece. Mindset. One of the first things we talk about with regards to pitching or anything is a person's mindset. This is ours. We take a lot from Carol Dweck's growth mindset, but we try to really, in essence, the mindset is your attitude toward things. If you imagine that events are happening all around you all the time, and depending what colored glasses you're wearing when you look at that event, it's going to affect how you look at it. You can't change that this thing just happened. All you can change is how you view it, how you react to it. It's your reaction. And depending on the kind of tinted glasses you're wearing, your reaction may be positive or negative. This kind of a mindset, meaning I'm always ready to pitch, I know my numbers, this and that, I take responsibility, I'm focused. All this is a verb. A lot of people mistake the idea of a mindset like it's some badge you earn. I did these things, I ticked these boxes, I did this course, bing, I get to wear the pin that says, I have a growth mindset. You don't. This is an action. Every moment of every day, you're faced with decisions. The decision you make is based on your attitude. So every chance you get, having this kind of mindset means you employ this mindset versus a mindset that says, I can't, it doesn't work, it'll never be, it sucks, it's not my fault, it's the economy, it's Trump, it's this, it's that, whatever. So mindset's really key, and it really underpins your ability to pitch. So, why is a pitch important at all, aside from what I've been blabbing about? Why do you think a pitch is even relevant here? Anybody? Correct. I'm getting your mental thoughts here. It's there in the back. So your name?
It gets you to a yes.
It gets you to a yes. Okay? In terms of you're talking about a product or a service or a sales. Got it. Right. It gets you to a yes. Okay. Anybody want to add to that?
I think it gets you clarity for yourself.
Clarity for yourself. Why is that important?
It's easy to get lost, isn't it? There's lots of variables, lots of shit changes. And so if you've got clarity in your pitch, it means you know the direction you're going, so decisions become easier, etc.
Okay.
It helps
Thank you,
with,
by the way.
helps with the customer focus. You got to think about the
Yeah.
Who you're talking to.
That's interesting. In order to craft a pitch that's relevant to that customer, your ability to craft it properly clarifies things for you as well, to who the customer is, and clarification to yourself. Interesting. Anybody else want to add? Oh, you again. You only get one shot, man.
Sorry.
Yes, again?
It was call to action. It's a call to action.
It's also a call to action. You'd be surprised how many people get up to do a pitch and then don't ask for anything. You know, look me up on Facebook, gang. All right, great. Yes, no, I'm sorry, your name?
Yeah, it's just Julian.
Hi, Julian.
You can waste an awful lot of time getting into something which is just not your bag.
Yeah, it's true. Hello, sir. How are you? Don't worry about it. Before you got here, we all took turns coming on stage and telling a joke. It's your turn. Okay, that was not funny. Got it. All right.
For this audience.
Three main components of any pitch, okay? And then we're going to talk about the math behind pitching, the structure. Because there's two sides here. There's going to be the structure of how to craft a pitch and some great advice about what belongs in a pitch, what doesn't. And then there's the other side, which is way harder, which is practicing it, crafting it, delivering it, and how to deliver that pitch. But first things first, if you don't have these three components sorted to begin with, you won't even get to the second half. For example, if you're up here doing a PowerPoint or doing a pitch, whether it's a 1-minute pitch or a 10-minute pitch or an investment pitch, if you are not sure about what you're talking about, the order in which it goes, then you can't focus on what's actually happening in the room because you're too worried about your notes. You're too worried about remembering bullets A, B, C, D, all that stuff. So you need to know your content inside and out so that while it's spurting out of your mouth, you can notice when somebody walks in the door. You can notice when the decision maker has entered the room. You can notice when somebody's on their phone. You can notice all this stuff. But if you are solely focused on memorizing and remembering what is in your head, you are incapable of being more aware of the important stuff that's happening out there. Whether you realize it or not, or whether you are a professional presenter or not, there is an energy in every encounter, whether it's a room full of people or it's that person next to you in line at the coffee shop. There's an energy there. And if you can recognize it, understand when there is a connection, and when that connection drops, and how to get that connection back, that's an important ability to kind of grow. But if you have the inability of noticing any of that energy, if you're stuck on your phone or your bullets or your flashcards. Hope that makes some sense. So content, structure, there's a mathematical equation that just makes sense in terms of a pitch, of what keeps people's attention. We live in an age, you have the perfect example on your phones all the time. Social media, posts, anything longer than, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 seconds. I mean, even that's long these days. Ask Faye, I'm sure. Scrolling. What's going to make somebody stop and watch your video or your ad or your What's going to stop somebody in a room like this from saying, this guy's already boring, let's go check my Twitter feed, let's go this and that, as far as paying attention. There's a structure behind this that does make a lot of sense, that's tried and true. Now, the structure is important because structure, you can alter it, but don't mess with it until you perfect it. For example, does anybody like jazz music? Anybody listen to jazz? Has anybody heard of jazz music? Yeah, okay. Have you ever noticed in jazz music, every now and again there's like a melody that you might recognize, or playing the melody, and all of a sudden some instrument stands up and takes a solo. They're like, or a piano, and it sounds like they're making this crap up, right? But the good ones sound like they're making it up, but it all fits right. Does that ring a bell for people? A lot of people think they're making it up. They're not. Before the person, I mean, unless you're like a prodigy, most of the people you hear doing improvised solos learned all the rules behind music. The scales, the chord progressions, the changes. They know the order of what's happening. And they know the rules so well that they know how to break them beautifully. And it sounds like it all fits. And you can hear when somebody lands on a wrong note, honk, they were making that up. That wasn't really part of the structure of what it was. It's like anybody that learns that kind of a thing. It's similar here. Learn this structure really well. Deliver it awesomely, and then you can play with it and you get really good at it. Because the truth is, you're probably going to have multiple pitches in your back pocket depending who you're talking to and depending what thing you're pitching. Your whole company, a product, a service, an idea, a program that's open for applications, whatever that might be. That's where the structure comes into play. And then your delivery. We all have seen speakers or talk to people that they might be saying something really, really impressive or important, but you can't get away fast enough. They're either boring or they're really right up in your face, in your space, or whatever it is. But delivery of a message is minimal, the words somebody is saying. That delivery is not about just the words, it's about the demeanor, the tone. You've all experienced this one way or another. And we're going to use a couple of interesting examples. But these are the three main components of any pitch. Some basic rules for content, some suggestions that work really across any sector. Just keep it simple. So remember what this pitch is about, okay? Now the content, if it's difficult for a 5-year-old to understand, that means you're probably using some jargon, some industry jargon. If it makes sense to you, but it doesn't make that sense to somebody else, or if you're using stuff that only makes sense in your business, it's real technical or it's real whatever, you're losing half the audience. You're losing half your people that are there. So keep it as simple as you can. Don't assume that we all know all the different letters, the this and the that. It's funny, I mean, I recently joined the NatWest family just 6 months ago, and like any organization, there's a bunch of these 3-letter acronyms that mean things that are quicker for people to say, but every time we're in a meeting, I'm like, what's that one mean? And what's that one mean? It's important, you know, you have to understand what this stuff is. You can read, I'm not gonna read this stuff to you, but as far as content goes, these are some of the do-nots that kind of come across here. Can I pause and ask, what is the main purpose of that pitch? Earlier we asked, what would you need a pitching for? But when you are delivering a pitch, or if you're planning to deliver a pitch, what's your ultimate goal? Why are you doing it in the first place? Keep it real simple, don't get fancy on me. Yes?
To communicate the value you can provide.
Okay, I like that. To communicate the value you could provide someone. So you're trying to present them something that they maybe want. And is that more or less what you're kind of getting at? Yeah. Okay. Anybody else? Why? What's the real root reason and result you're looking for from any pitch?
To get their business.
To get their business, okay? And we could go down this rabbit hole of what makes somebody give you their business, but we'll pause that for a second. Anybody else? Okay, I'll share my opinion, okay? I have a lot of experience speaking, and this isn't to be like, ooh, I'm so fancy, but I spent a lot of time in my life and my career on stage. I worked on cruise ships, I've been all over the place. And the key with this is that if you've ever been, has anybody been to a comedy show? And you're watching this comedian on stage and you're just watching them like they're tanking. I mean, they are bombing. They're just awful. Don't make any jokes about it right now. But have you been there? And when that was happening, did you feel like this weird vibe in the room that everybody's like, like the person's upstage and they're bombing? Do you just sit there and go, ha ha, you suck? Or do you kind of feel badly for them? There's this energy that they're experiencing that is infecting everybody around them, right? You want them to succeed, but something's happening where they're just not, they're not getting there, right? So this energy in this room, this energy between two people is very real, whether you believe it or not. Now, the purpose of any pitch, especially in our case, 1-minute pitches, keep it to 60 seconds. The purpose here is, one, in the planning and creation of your pitch, if you're in our program, is to get you to the place where you are able to succinctly and quickly describe what you do, what the business is, what it's for, and all these things. But ultimately, most people are doing a pitch for a different reason. Maybe it's to get investment, maybe it's to get a client. But the real thing, when you're doing a quick pitch, in many of my people's cases, the pitch is so that you want to come talk to me later. Here's a 1-minute pitch. I want you to want to have coffee. For many of my clients, my entrepreneurs in the program, they are trying to fill their leads, right? They're trying to fill their pipeline with leads, whether it's direct messaging on Instagram or social media or something. We want you to want to come talk to us because the sale doesn't happen in 60 seconds. You're not gonna buy my product in 60 seconds. You might buy me in 60 seconds. I don't mean that in a dirty way. I mean, you might buy into my energy, and if I can get you to have a coffee or a chat, it's in that chat where the magic happens. That's where they want to know more. But if you can't get somebody to want to know more within 60 seconds, you lost before you started. Is that resonating for anybody in the room? Mm-hmm. In many cases, people get confused that they're doing and working on this pitch to make me happy. Honestly, I don't care that much, all right? The pitch is about your thing. So the content and the structure here, you want to keep it simple because this isn't the only chance you've got to talk to them about what you do. This is where you want to get their attention where they go, do you have time for a coffee? I know, I saw your presentation, but I know you don't usually work with my kind of client, but could we have 5 minutes? Boom, and there's a chance, right? That's what the pitch is about. So everything with that lens on, the structure and everything in your pitch, if you scare them away with big advertising words and jargon, that's important. So keep your content simple, but make it meaningful. Now the next thing, things like this. If you're trying to get somebody's attention, what you don't need is letting them get distracted by things that they're thinking about. Have you ever experienced where someone's talking, and all of a sudden they say something or they do something, and it sparks a thought in your head, and all of a sudden your head's now down that rabbit hole thinking about something, and you haven't been listening for the last 2 minutes of what they've been talking about? Anybody? Yeah? So, for example, when people use stats or facts that sound outrageous, or maybe the audience isn't sure they're true. As soon as I said something, somebody in the back is now Googling it going, that can't be right. And now they're not paying attention to the rest of my pitch. So many times when I speak, I stay relatively generic because I don't need you to get distracted. I need your attention for 60 seconds. Words like this kind of do that too. Hopefully, probably, maybe, that was literally an audible yawn. Seriously? Maybe, almost could, might. What this implies is an uncertainty, all right? What this implies is less sure of yourself. You've got 1 minute, or whatever your time is, to be the expert in what you're talking about. People do it all the time on LinkedIn. They want to become this thought leader, right? We want to become in this space, a thought leader, so people come to you with questions, right? When you use words like this, it doesn't insinuate surety or certainty, you know? And if you don't have the exact, you're the expert in everything, don't try to be, right? The only thing you're selling in your pitch is you. In your brain, your subconscious just takes commands. And just like when you had a bully when you were 8 years old or 11 years old, anybody ever had a bully? Yeah? When a bully says something to you, and they say something over and over again, kids tend to believe it after a time. Maybe I am a loser, maybe I am fat, maybe I am blah, 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 blah. It's because your brain gets in there and makes it true. The same thing happens when you say things to yourself, yeah? If you call yourself bad words, or if you allow yourself to talk to yourself like you wouldn't allow a bully to, check yourself. And the challenge here is when you use words like can't, or need, or should, it is really representing a lack of acceptance of reality, all right? And let's get off this topic, but what I'm saying is if you tell yourself these things, it also does the same thing for other people. If you use words like can't, I can't do 20 pull-ups. It's final. Your brain just hears, yep, that's it, great, let's make that true, boom. There's no other outcome possible when you use words like can't. I presently struggle with doing 20 pull-ups. It implies yet, it implies there's a chance, it implies there's a reason to even try, right? These words do similar things. These words give unsurety, uncertainty, and create past bits of doubt. So as a general rule, just keep them out of your pitches. This is just a pitch, but just keep them out of your pitches because I promise you, you hear somebody up here who says they're an expert in something and they say, well, hopefully we'll do this, or maybe it can be like that. In context, it's just advice, but these are some words to stay away from. Now there's a mathematical structure here. I call it math, but it's an order that makes sense. A hook. When does the pitch start? If you're coming in to do a presentation or a pitch or something, when does that start?
The moment you walk on stage.
I like that, but I would push that. I didn't catch your name, sir.
Good. George.
George. He's like, the questions are going to get harder, sir. I like that, the moment you walk on stage. But in reality, your pitch starts the moment you walk in the door of the building. The moment you come up to the admin and the person at the front desk and you're nice or you're rude to them. The moment you mingle out there and you're up there, it's not when you step on this stage. People have formed an opinion about you the moment they walk by and you ignored them. You didn't hold the door, you didn't shake their hand, or you were rude to them. Because if you're one way out there and then you're up here going, hello, please buy my stuff, but you were a total jerk over here, even your behavior. So pay attention. The pitch begins there. Now, if you've done some good work, that means by the time you get up here, at the very least, nobody dislikes you, right? At the very least. I'm not saying that by the time I got up here, you all loved me and you knew me, but at least I don't think I was a jerk to anybody. So you didn't have any preconceived notions that I was awful. You were like, oh, this guy seems odd. That's great, right? Because the first stage of any pitch is the hook. Something that grabs your attention. In this age of attention spans that are less than goldfishes, the first thing is before you say the stuff that you're saying, the real meat, the juicy bit of your pitch, you need to make sure they're listening. Everybody's on their phones, everybody's talking to somebody else, multitasking. Before you say the juicy bit in your ask, you gotta get their attention, and this is done any number of ways. Some people use stats, a staggering figure, some people are very flamboyant and loud, some people have a different accent. When I started my business, one of my biggest advantages was just being different, sounding different. I mean, I could have been a complete idiot, and there are times I was. But the accent helped, you know? Everything plays to your advantage. So what is it for you in your pitch that will grab their attention? I knew a guy on the Accelerator Program a couple of years ago. We'd hear him doing his pitch and we'd be at the desks working. His thing, he ran an active outdoor company for kids, right? he would leap up onto a chair and be like, really loud, and like some kind of sports thing, and the whole room would shake. But I'll tell you what, everybody stopped what they were doing and went, whoa. And now that you got their attention, now tell them something. And then what do you tell them when you got their attention? The key is, how do you get their attention? Another general rule, don't piss off your audience. There's no need to be mean. There's no need to be awful. Being practical, being nice, but if you make enemies of people, they're shutting off. If you say something awful because you think you're being, there's a very fine line between being confident and being arrogant, yeah? So when I spent my time on stage, my goal was, in a room of 3,000 people that had come to see the dancing show with these beautiful girls and guys on stage, I was just the host introducing the show. My only job was to make these folks look even better, to get their attention, to make sure they're not smoking, the phones are off, that's it. Nobody came to see Josh. So if I go on stage and I'm like, let me do some comedy for you, nobody wants to see me, right? Understand your role at that time. Here, how are you gonna get their attention? You can play with that, but the point is, you need a hook. Get their attention somehow. Get their attention in some way. If you're funny, great. If you're whatever it is for you, but you need a hook. Mathematically, you need it because you need to stop them from doing whatever they're doing so they're at least available to hear the next bit. And the next bit is their problem, their pain point. A lot of entrepreneurs run into a challenge where they end up spending, far too much time being in love with their own solution rather than being in love with the problem they're solving. I got this great idea, and you love the idea, and your mom and your dad and your friends said you have a great idea, you can make a business out of that. All right, good luck. How many people in here have businesses less than 5 years old? Well, statistics say 80% of you will fail. That's scary and crappy to say. That's not my rule. So, why not give yourself every chance possible to make sure it works? And in this case, the more you can fall in love with the problem you're solving for someone, the better. The other thing is this, brain-wise, understand the part of a person's brain that has decision-making capabilities doesn't have capacity for language. It's the most messed up thing. The part of your mind that makes choices can't talk. It has no language. That's why when you go to a store and people throw stats at you, the TV's 4K, it's this big, it's pixels, it's that. People make decisions based on how they feel. In sales, you don't sell them on the stats and the facts. If you can make somebody feel something, then you got a chance of selling them what you want, right? And the way you make them feel something is by identifying what causes that pain. What is the thing that keeps your clients up in the middle of the night? If you can quickly, bam, I got your attention with a hook, and now I share with you emphatically that I feel your pain. I understand your pain. Now you're like, oh, hear what he has to say, maybe. Identify with what it is. And there's a whole workshop around identifying the problem people you're solving for them, whether it's a service or not. Then, you got them on the hook. I got my attention, my phone is down, this guy understands what keeps me up at night, and then he's just told me how he solves that problem. Damn, I'm thinking about asking this guy for a coffee. Follow? Now, I didn't mean to blow it too fast, but your solution is this. It's your MVP, your USP, what makes you different? How are you different from every other accountancy out there, every other person that's a coach, every other person that's this? What makes you different? You've got their attention, you've done a good job, they're paying attention, and they're giving you a chance for you to say why you're different. Do not blow it. Have that prepared. Why are you different? What makes you special? There's whole work to be done around that. So as you can see, even being able to craft a pitch like this requires you to do a lot of work and delve down into your own business, the whys, the values, what you're really about. If you fluff it, don't be shocked when people don't understand what you do and you end up wasting hours of discovery meetings with people and they don't really understand what you do or they don't need what you have. Opportunity. In a pitch, people want to understand the credibility. Now, opportunity is in the sense of saying, in some cases it's like, hey, I'm a startup and I've got this many clients, we're doubling revenue, we've got investment, this is why the market needs what I've got. You gotta be a bit generic here, but in some cases, the opportunity section is about the proof. We call it traction, okay? Prove to me that you're not just a good presenter, tell me some stats. How many people have you worked with? How much money have you turned over? Blah, 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 whatever it might be that's relevant in that pitch. Give me some credibility. We've won awards. We've been doubling our revenue the last 3 years if it's an investment pitch. If it's a sales pitch, talk to them about successes of your clients, SEO scores, whatever it is. But this is where you give them proof that you're not just a bunch of good talk and a good presenter. In some cases, you'll need to explain your business model. Either for a client, here's how this works. It's a subscription, or it's a one-time fee, or you do this and I do that. Here's how we work together. If this is a pitch about explaining your business for investment, they want to understand the answers to these questions. How do you make money? How does it work? You don't just put it out there and people come running. What's the plan? In the next section, maybe you've got a team. Are you a one-person show? Is there a lot of people in the team or not? Who's in that team? Now mind you, as you go through these categories, the more you can see the flow of hook, problem, here's how I solve that problem, here's how I've already solved it for other people, here's what makes me different, here's the people that help me do this, blah, blah, blah. Following? And this is the part that so many people either forget or you see this transformation. They do this great pitch, and then they either think, so hey, I'm on Facebook, look me up, or I'd love it if you gave me a call. That's not a call to action, that's begging and desperation and nothing. What is the ask? Come up right here. I used to have a presentation. I said, listen, if you want to know more, there's a clipboard in the back of the room. Put your name, give me permission to call you, and then we'll chat. If you want to have a coffee, chat with me, sign your name down there, you're buying, I'll see you then. Right? Ha ha ha, whatever it is. But what's the ask? Follow me, do this, fill out this form, whatever it might be. The second thing about it, it's almost just as bad as not having an ask, is that when you come time to do the ask, you've been like this, and you're like, oh yeah, great, and then the ask comes, you're like, so it costs this much, and I really am worth it, I promise. You give this impression that you're this different person because you're afraid to ask for money. You're afraid to, and I say you in general terms, okay? You've seen this happen, I bet, with other people, where it feels like it's a completely separate section of their presentation, that here's what it costs, I hope it doesn't scare you all, as opposed to focusing on the value. Because remember, price is not an issue in the presence of value. So that last bit is the ask. Make sure you got that bit. So that's the basic structure of how it goes. Back of the room in our hub, these little bullets are just on the back of the wall. When people get up and they've memorized it, they can use these to remind them about their problem. They memorize their hook, their pitches in little 10-second segments. Yeah? And that's the basic structure right there. It's a tried and true structure, but once you master it, you can rearrange it, use it in different ways. And whatever pitch thing you're pitching, you can plug it into that thing like that. Any questions? Because I know that I'm just about over time. Yes, sir?
Right. Earlier on, you had a list of cons, things that you shouldn't say.
Yes.
But later on, you had a slide which was about financials, where your money's coming from. But they are essentially the same thing. One's saying, I have a guess of where things are, and I'm not sure. And the other is saying, I can't do this, or I won't do this.
It's a good observation.
So I want to know, from your perspective, how do you square the two?
It's with every single thing we always work with, is always with what is the outcome. We begin the end in mind. In this case, who is the pitch to, and what is it for? Answer those questions properly, and one of these slides may not be relevant. If it's for investors, or you're asking people to join something, or like that, the financials may be relevant to talk about because they're going to want to know, right? In other cases, if it's a pitch to clients, they may not care about your turnover. It's not that these have to be in there, but they're essential sections of any particular pitch based on the outcome you're looking for. So I would say you are correct. There's words we would say, we'd advise you to try to stay away from because they give the wrong impression. But you got to kind of go with your gut at the same time. If the financials aren't relevant, depending who you're talking to and what the outcome you're looking for is, then don't include it. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
Yeah? Because this is not a one-size-fits-all, because they're all different industries, different genres. This is more a personal development of how to speak to people, and you insert the topics, you change what it might be. But in this case, you gotta understand on top of all of that, the more you know your content and all those other pieces, it allows you to focus on your delivery. It's a performance, not an act. Don't be fake. Audiences are like kindergartners, in the sense, see, watch that, in the sense they see right through you. Little kids aren't afraid to be like, you're fat, daddy. You know, things like, they're not afraid to say these things. They also will call you out on your BS, like teachers and whatnot. Little kids will say it. Audiences are similar. Audiences, as they get this group together, they can tell when you're being fake. I mean, you can see these people, hello and good evening and welcome to so-and-so, and I'm this and I'm that. You gotta find, it's about who you need to be for this particular audience, right? So remember, with delivery, if you are still trying to regurgitate, memorize content that isn't really memorized, you have no chance of being able to focus on your delivery and being aware of what else is happening in the room. Who's paying attention, who's not? Do I need to make a funny little because somebody's sleeping? But if I'm doing this, I have no idea. You can't get to good delivery unless you memorize your content, make sure you know what you're talking about, and you know it inside and out. There's no getting around doing the work. You can go to the gym and get a tour of the machines and buy the app and buy the whey protein, but if you do not go to the gym, you will not get the six-pack. That's it. You still got to go to the gym regardless, even if you know how it all works. So, there's an app that NatWest provides, only on iPhones. Apparently, we don't like Android. Maybe it'll come soon. But it's a great little app because it allows you to kind of go through this layout and record it and see yourself. Get used to recording yourself. Do you really want the first time you do your pitch to people that you don't even know what you sound like? You can't identify that you say 27 times, or you go, or you take, or you move around. Record yourself. And this is a great tool to do that. And you can actually just work with the same exact structure we just talked about. Great, download it, have a good time with it. It follows that model. Have fun and good luck, and just be fun. Remember, for most of the time, the outcome, what is it? What is the outcome you're looking for? Do you want a coffee chat? Do you want a longer conversation? Do you really think they're going to buy your thing after 60 seconds? It's up to you. Anyway, thanks very much. I apologize for being over a few minutes there, but I hope you got some good out of it. So thanks very much. Applications are open for another few hours. Do it. You can always say no.
That was amazing.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
Right. So, well, both those presentations were fantastic, so thank you very much for doing that. And you know you've got to rush off now, don't you?
Not right away.
Oh,
Not right
right,
away.
okay,
I'm okay for a bit.
Okay. Right, so we're going to break now for a coffee. So we'll have about 15-20 minutes for coffee. Yeah. So you can go now, and then we'll come back in for the show and tell. Okay. Thank you.
Hey Josh.
Hey Ben, how are you?
Hi.
Have we met before?